everyone! Today for math we're going to talk about a concept called fractions or equal sharing. Now there's a really important word in there with equal sharing, and that word is equal. Do you know what equal means? Equal means the same or the same amount. Okay, so keep that in your heads. I've written up here how we denote fractions. That means how we write them down. So if I'm talking about a half, I'll write 1 and then a line and then the number 2. So that's half, and this is what half looks like in written form. And if I'm talking about a quarter, I write 1 line and then 4. Okay, and that's what a quarter looks like in written form. So that's not really important for today, but I just wanted you to have that information as well, just because it's something interesting. So if we're talking about halves, we're talking about splitting things into 2. And we know that because when we look at the written form of half, it's got a 2 underneath. Okay, so that number underneath is very important. So we can split whole objects in half, like apples, or we can split groups of objects in half, like the toys I've got here. So I'll start with my apple. I've got my cutting board and my knife. Apple, I'm going to be very careful about this. Now I know that a half means I'm splitting objects into 2 pieces, right? So I'm just going to cut here. There we go. I've got 2 pieces now. Is that a half? No, because we forgot the really important word, didn't we? Half means equal, so I need 2 equal pieces. Are these 2 pieces the same size? Do they have the same amount of apple in them? No. Let's see if I can try again. Another apple here. And this time I'm going to try and cut it down the middle so that I'll be left with 2 equal pieces at the end. So I think the middle is about there. Do you agree? So now when I take my apple apart, it should be a half. There we go. I've got 2 pieces of apple that are very, very close to being the same. It's not exact with my apple, but I can tell you that that looks like a half. So I've got 2 equal pieces of apple here. And we can do the same thing with these toys. So now we're going to talk about equal sharing. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 toys here. And I want to put them into 2 equal groups. Okay? So if I know my times tables, I might be able to do that really easy. But at the moment I don't. So I am going to start putting them into 2 equal groups. I'm going to put 1 group here and 1 group here. Okay, so I've got my 2 groups now. Have I got half of the toys in each group? No, I've only got 1 toy in each group, don't I? I've still got all these toys over here. So I'm going to share them out equally. I'm going to put 1 toy in each group until there are no more toys to share. And because I've put 1 toy into this group and then 1 toy into this group, I know that they are the same amount in each group. But shall we check? I'll separate them out slightly. Okay, so this group here has got 1, 2, 3, 4. And this group here has got 1, 2, 3, 4. So you remember at the beginning I had 8 toys. And when I split those 8 toys into 2 equal groups, I now have 4 toys in each group. So that was half. Pretty awesome. And now we're going to talk about this one, quarters. Now you know from the half that the important number is the one underneath, right? Because in halves we're splitting things into 2 equal pieces or groups, and in quarters we need to split things into 4 equal pieces or groups. You're very right. So I'm going to put all of my toys back together in one group. I'm going to come back to my apple. So I've already split my apple into 2 equal pieces. I now need to make it into 4 pieces. So I am going to cut each of my pieces once more down the middle, and now I should have 4 equal pieces. So each of these pieces is 1/4 of the whole apple. Now it can be a little bit tricky. Put the apple away for now. And come back to our toys. So how many groups do I need now for our equal sharing? I'm going to need 4 groups. That's right. Okay, so let me take these away. I'll keep them in my hand. And I'm going to start putting out 4 groups. Okay? 1, 2, 3, and 4. And just like with the halves, what I'm going to do is keep putting one of these toys into each group until I have no more toys left, to make sure that we're sharing equally between the groups. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I've got no more toys left, and each group I can see has got the same amount of toys in it. Turn them slightly so you can see. So my 1, 2, 3, 4 groups have all got 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. 2 toys in them. So I then know that 1/4 of my 8 toys is 2. That was a lot of information, wasn't it? So my challenge for you today is to do some halving and some quartering with your toys or with your lunch. Try cutting up your sandwich into half. And remember, the most important part of the sentence is the equal sharing, isn't it? Because I can cut an apple into 2 pieces, but it doesn't mean it's a half, does it? Because half means that I have to have 2 parts that are the same, 2 equal parts. Okay. So try cutting your sandwiches into halves, or halving your dolls or your blocks of Lego. That might be a bit hard because there's quite a few of them, I bet. And try quarters as well. So splitting things into equal groups, and share some of what you're doing on Hero, because I'd love to see it. Bye, learners.